Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, it's those guys with your host Matt here, along with your other host.
Witness me!
All right, that's Tristan Walter, and please, Tristan Walter, close that robe. Please close the jacket. I'm not interested in witnessing you. Okay.
Wait, what?
It sounds like you're flashing me. Witness me!
Oh, God damn it. Stop
Doesn't it?
ruining
Is it
my
just me?
one-liners, damn it.
All right. So here's the thing, right? So for me, I want to say it feels so good to be back. It technically is and isn't. It's weird because what happened was, so you and I actually recorded a podcast while I was at your place the day after Halloween, and if any of you guys are also fans of our Those Guys Play channel, then you saw the episode of Matt Rants where Tristan actually came on and we talked about the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Nintendo Direct. So we did that, but we also did another podcast that's coming out tomorrow. It was supposed to come out earlier, but I ended up accidentally staying another day. I was with family, so it was cool, but I stayed another day, and then all of a sudden, I just didn't get that work done in time for Saturday. So we have an Out of Saturday episode coming up that we recorded. To me, it just feels like it's been so long. It technically hasn't, because we not only recorded that Halloween special, which was Rasen / Spiral, which is a sequel to Ringu, the Japanese version of The Ring, but we also, what else did we, we recorded the Doctor Who Wednesday episode.
Yes.
As well. So we recorded both of those before I left to come see you because we had some fun at a local bar by your place for Halloween. But after that, I don't know, it hasn't even been a full week. But to me, it feels like we haven't podcasted for days, even though I'm pretty sure. Yeah, well, it's been literally, I think, 1 week since we actually pre-recorded the Doctor Who Wednesday episode, I think.
Right.
Because I'm pretty sure we did it last. No, it hasn't even been a week, but I don't know about you, Tristan, but for me it feels like it's been a long time since we've podcasted. Maybe it's because we're talking about Mad Max, and it's been a long time since Max, but I don't know, it feels like you and I haven't done, even though we clearly have, but it feels like you and I haven't done a proper podcast, on the phone, not so much, us hanging out, but a proper podcast since you've, came back, but we clearly have, so I don't know why my brain is it's been so long. Because it hasn't been. But do you feel that way too, or is it literally just me?
Nah, just you.
All right, cool. Because we did Keikaku Corner. We've done Keikaku Corner since you've been back. But we haven't, to me, it feels like we haven't talked about, maybe it's because Rasen was off when we talked about it. Maybe that's why.
Oh, no, man. Well, I mean, maybe, but no, that's still thoroughly burned into my mind.
Well, as it should be. It's a sequel to The Ring, so it should be.
I don't want it to
this, I know.
Stop.
This is burned in a good way. This is a good burn.
Yeah.
Fury Road. What we're talking about today, by the way, everybody, Mad Max 4. That's technically what it is. It's technically Mad Max 4, but understandably, you don't want to put that branding on it, just like Max did not want to be branded.
Right.
No, the second they brought in the brand. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because that's all it took. Max was honestly, a good clean shave. Frankly, you guys are doing me a favor.
Yeah. You're about to brand his face. Nope, that's where I'm noping out. Thanks for the shave, guys. It's been great, but I'm getting the hell out of here. Punch.
No, but I love it, though, because it feels like he could have done that at any time, but he just waited. He was just let me see where this goes.
He was just waiting for the opportune moment.
And then boom. So, this movie, it's going to be hard to talk about because during the ones that we love the most, I just feel like it's us complimenting, but giving the same compliments over and over and over. Or if one of us comes up with something new, the other one says, and I agree. So I feel like this movie is going to be a bit hard to comment on, but I'll try my best. If I have any critiques, I'll give them. There aren't as many as Mad Max 3.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, there are a few things, not that they're critiques necessarily, but just a few things that, in a way, I wish were cleared up because we have a different actor playing Max. Now, we understand why. There's a different actor playing Max. You know, some would say, oh, it's because of how old Mel Gibson was. That, and also from like one to like anti-Semitic.
Yes.
He kind of went towards anti-Semitism there for a bit there. And you know, it's one of those things where like people, including Gibson, was saying, hey, it's because of my alcohol abuse, which is like, okay, yeah, you shouldn't be abusing alcohol, fair. But I know people, or rather I've seen people who abuse alcohol and don't say shit like that.
Right.
So it's kind of like, it's one of those weird things where it's just like, maybe you don't abuse alcohol. I agree. I agree about the not abusing alcohol, and apparently, you know, he has some episodes where I think he said doctors have said he might be bipolar. I don't remember if that one was true, though, so don't quote me on that. But the point is that still, when it comes to the alcohol, it's like, all right, stop, you know, drinking alcohol, at least to that excess, and also stop saying racist and bigoted shit. You could do both.
Right.
You could do both. And it seems like he has, you know, made amends. I don't know if he's actually made amends before, but he said he's sorry. So that's why now he's directing movies and shit. But still, when it comes to being Max, even putting the age aside, like if he never said that stuff, I actually would have wanted to see how he would be as an aged Max in a dystopian world. But a mix of both, where the director, the original creator of Mad Max, was like, I don't know if I want him to come back for both reasons, you know, for the anti-Semitism, and also because he wanted a younger Max to feel like it's just another part, like another piece of the story, not so much like, oh, this is a, you know, 40 years older Max, because Max would be 60,
right,
if he came back, which I'm not saying he can't survive and he can't kick ass. He'd be like those old ladies in the car, like he'd be fucking going nuts, but at the same time, I would love it. I really would. But it is kind of like with the stunts that Max has to do, it's just one of those things where I feel as if it's just, I don't know. Like, I don't mean to be ageist, but I feel like it would be a bit harder to do stunts like that.
Right.
Like, there's a reason why the actor for what was the main villain's name again? Because I can only think of him as Toe Cutter, because the actor who played him plays Toe Cutter in the original.
Oh, no shit. Huh.
Yeah, I told you this a while ago, I think. I think we had this revelation like the first...
Right.
Because you've seen this movie before.
Yes, I saw this when it came out, actually.
And this is the first Mad Max movie you ever saw, which is fucking hilarious.
Yep.
Well, but you know what it is? The cool thing is, the way the movie even starts off with Max's narration, it does make people gives off the impression of, not that I think of it as a reboot, because I don't think of it as a reboot. I think of it just as another part of the Max franchise. But at the same time, it was a way to acknowledge, like, yo, we haven't had a new Max movie for like 30 fucking years. But if you want to come and see this, that's all you need to know. The world is fucked. Here we are. Yeah. But no, who's the main villain? What's his name again? Because it's not Toe Cutter.
Yeah, no, I'm looking right now.
Because he, what's it called? He's actually the actor. What?
Right. No, the character's name is Immortan Joe.
Thank you, Immortan Joe. For some reason, the Immortan part was so prominent that it made me completely forget that his name was just fucking Joe. So, like, he's just fucking Joe. But Immortan Joe, his actor is in his 60s, because he was in his 20s when he played Toe Cutter. So there's a reason why for most of the movie he's sitting.
Yeah.
So
but
we have to have
they made
Mel
the
Gibson.
Character perfect.
Oh, no, he looks amazing. And when his face got ripped off, that was fucking beautiful. I'm just saying that all I'm saying is that if Mel Gibson was in the movie, he would be sitting, which I know it's like, Matt, it's a racing movie. Yeah, but we had Tom Hardy, or at least stunt doubles, whichever, get on top of the car while it was seemingly moving. Like, holy shit. That's something that a 60-year-old Mel Gibson be a little difficult. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So,
I get the feeling he might still try it, but at the same time.
Yeah, right? Please, Mel, put the alcohol down. You're not doing the stunts.
No, it's not time for the scene. Please stop screaming obscenities on top of the rig.
No, it's just I only find it funny because I just imagine it being like, Mel, we've stopped shooting for months. Please stop yelling obscenities on top of the rig. But no. Oh, so I loved. It's Charlize Theron. I loved her as Furiosa.
Yes.
She was amazing. And I think the reason why I think I love her so much and her story so much is because even though I do think that, like Mad Max, the franchise, like all these movies, they've had some weird situations where they sexualize women, but I feel like they do it in the film not to be like, ooh la la, they do it like these are the horrors of, you know, what would happen in a post-apocalyptic world. But the good thing about this movie is, just like the third one in a way, but then of course we had Tina Turner's character become the bad guy, which was weird because she just flip-flopped in a way that I wasn't a big fan of. But in this movie, it was nice that she could just be a badass. Yes, we see some of the horrors of the post-apocalyptic world with Joe and with, you know, the breeders and his wives and shit like that. But we still get Furiosa to come in and be, you know, really a true co-star to Max. For some reason, I forgot Hardy's name out of nowhere. Tom Hardy. But yeah, Tom Hardy's Max. And they worked really well together. And I'm so happy that there was no kiss or anything like that.
Oh, yeah. No, that was, like, the biggest thing for me. Like, it was an action movie. Because, like, it reminded me, like, how Pacific Rim did it, too. It was this big, you know, finale to this big action movie. And I'm like, there's no, you know, like, there doesn't have to be this big romantic kiss at the end between the leads.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because they show just the fact of Max being, you know, as crazy as it is at this point, and just all the shit that he's been through, he's still a good person who helps people out at the end of the day. He can't, like, it's in his nature. And that they're really comrades by the end of this. She's like, yeah, you helped me make a new home and take back this place for the people who live here. Thank you. And like, that ending scene is just so, it was so moving for me at the end of the film. It really was. Like, I don't want to make it seem like corny or cheesy the way I'm saying it, but it truly was a beautiful moment, and they don't even say anything to each other. That was another great thing about this movie, is there is a lot of stuff delivered between characters just by the way that they look at each other or just the silence that's shared. Because they just have such a bonding moment of camaraderie and just don't even have to say anything to each other. He just nods and walks off into the crowd and is gone again.
The director, Miller, who's also, again, the original creator of the franchise, he said that he wanted this movie to also be viewable around the world in a way that didn't really have, like, yes, of course, there was dialogue to keep things going, but it was so minimal that, like, he wanted the movie, let's say, to be viewed in Japan without subtitles, and people could still understand what's going on.
Right, yeah.
And I think the movie in many ways kind of delivered on that, because I don't think the dialogue, other than like the opening narration about, hey, this is why the world is fucked, I don't think the dialogue did so much. I mean, yes, obviously there were little things here and there, but there was so little dialogue, interestingly enough. Now, of course, that had to be, there's still, the pages are still fucking, you know, this is a huge script just talking about how huge the scenes were, or like describing the scenes in length. I mean, apparently Miller storyboarded the entire movie before even filming.
Right. Wow.
So
nice.
So it's and also apparently he got his wife to edit the film. So she was editing the film, and she edited like so many hours of, I'm going to look up the exact hours in a minute or so, but so many hours that it took her 3 months to watch through all of it.
Right.
Like, because she's editing down like that much time, because I'm sure, because they probably filmed like a ton of just driving through the desert.
Yeah.
But still, what I wanted to get to though is that, you know, not only like talking about how like the movie could be seen in Japan and things like that, you know, not too much dialogue. Apparently, there's 2 different cuts of the movie. None of them officially a quote unquote director's cut, if you will, with like more scenes and stuff. But there are cuts that are in black and white, which Miller considers it like the definitive version. Like, he loves that version. And a silent film version with, I don't know if it's the same score from the movie or a different score, but there is a silent film version.
I think I did hear about that, yeah.
So that was really cool. We may have talked about it, yeah, but still, so that really was interesting to me. The reason why I think I love this movie so much is not only does Tom Hardy really become Max in a way where he nailed it in a way, and I know this was your first Max, to be fair, but the way I look at it is, the reason why, for me, I feel like he really nails it is because sometimes with certain actors and certain characters, you sit there and you think the whole time, like, oh, this doesn't look like Mel Gibson, let's say, or this doesn't look like so-and-so, or something like that. But with, for some reason, I think his mannerisms and not even how he spoke necessarily, because, he didn't really sound like Gibson, of course, but, like, there was something about his demeanor that made me sit back and go, yeah, no, that's Max. That's Max. That is. Like, there was nothing that made me think, oh, that's not something that, let's say, Max would do or Max would say or something. No, just every...
This isn't like another actor coming in and it's like, oh, this is their interpretation of the character. It's like, no, this is, like, still the original character.
Yeah, because when I think of, okay, so when you said interpretation, more so for me, it's like, oh, it's a copy of Mel Gibson's version of. Like, it's still, like, it didn't even feel like it was a copy of Mel Gibson. It just felt like he is Max. And yes, you could argue Mel Gibson clearly had to define that, had to set that role up, sure. But when I say impression, I mean, like, if I was playing, like, let's say Wolverine or something, like, I would probably end up doing a Stephen Blum interpretation, where it's like, hey, bub, and it would be like that. Or even some other version of Wolverine that have came before me, it might sound like that. So that's the thing. That's the way I look at it. It's like, it's not him doing an impression of Mel Gibson's version of Max, but in the way he acts, he just comes off as, that's Mad Max. That's who he is.
Yeah.
Why is he not? Is he not Max? Because he fucking walks. If you walk like Max and you talk like Max, you become that character, and I feel like he did that very well. Another thing that I think was done better than almost any of the movies before it, and this is a tall order that I'm bringing to the table, but it's what they brought, and I'm just commenting on it. Every single chase scene was done in a way that I've almost never seen them done in a Mad Max movie before. I mean, I have to say, the first one I really enjoyed, but there was something about, even with the third one, where the budget clearly increased, and I shouldn't hate on the second one. Actually, I like the costume design so much of the second one, I think, even more so than both the first, even the third, although this one, I think, really harkened back to that costume design from the second Mad Max. Yeah. But when I talk about the racing scenes, the reason why I enjoyed them so much is because I don't know if it's me comparing it to other movies that are out nowadays and, CGI and all this stuff, but because there was CGI used in this film, but it was very minimal. And when it was used, funnily enough, it was used, if you want to call it CG necessarily, although it's, general video editing, there were certain scenes that were apparently shot in broad daylight. Yeah. And were changed to night.
Right. Huh.
So I think that scene where they were driving where, like, they had a different color. Like, everyone in the car other than the three wives in the back were a different color. I'm pretty sure that's the scene that they might have been referring to, where it was full daytime. They just used different video editing software to make it so that, they looked a certain color. Maybe they, changed the exposure on those three, and then made everybody else look a lot different in comparison, and made just the entire outside of the car looked like it was nighttime, because it looked different. Like, it didn't look like it was actual, like, nighttime. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't look like they were actually driving at night. There was something special about it and different. And you thought probably, I thought, oh, they maybe just changed the color a little bit. But then I read online that they actually filmed certain scenes in just bright daytime, just straight up daytime, and then edited them later. But no, the driving scenes, I think, were just so beautifully done. The fucking guitar dude was spectacular. I mean, just how he added on to the scenes, just literally just playing the fucking guitar.
Yeah. Like, I loved it every time they, like, swing around to him and then you would hear the guitar and the score come out.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he just added to the scene just by playing it, and then you hear the guitar riffs. Also, apparently they got different Cirque du Soleil acrobats to move around. So some of that was not, oh, let's CG this. It was actually, we have fucking wires here.
Right, actual stunts, yeah.
Yeah. That is
amazing.
It is. It's fucking insanity that you actually had stuff like that happen. Now, I don't know if, certain parts, what was open roads, what weren't open roads, things like that, because, of course, that is also when CGI comes into play. But it's still crazy to think about the fact that even if, some of that stuff was done behind a green screen, or most likely some of it was, that still you had them on fucking poles and wires just fucking flying around. Also, the fact that Charlize Theron's arm was also CGI throughout the entire movie. She wore a green screen arm.
Right.
Throughout her entire... because she had the bionic prosthetic. So she actually wore a green screen like arm hand thing for the entire film.
Right.
So they had to actually get that out in post, which, yes, with their budget sounds easy, but like she interacted with a lot of the environment. And I know from experience, CGI ain't easy. Yeah. So it's, or rather green screen ain't easy. So it was beautiful. Also, I'm sure you noticed this, Tristan, parts of the movie when watching it felt a little weird in terms of like, let's say like they were like in the beginning of the movie when some of the characters were running around, the characters in white, when they were running around, it may have seemed odd because they just walked in a weird way. Like even when Max was running in the beginning, it was odd. I'm sure you may have noticed that throughout the film, like when a car kind of like sped up or, came in and out of the shot or something like that, that it seemed like the speed was off.
Yeah, like they fast-forwarded the film a bit.
They did. They fast-forwarded and slowed down at certain points. So Miller went in and said, hey, if this feels this maybe doesn't make sense because it's too fast, they slowed it down, and vice versa. If that clearly makes sense, then they sped it up, which was amazing because, yes, certain parts of the movie weren't even 30 frames per second.
Right.
They were actually slowed down.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like how they do it for the older films too. They would do the same thing. Like if a car exploded or flipped through the air or something.
Yes. I mean, heck, they even had a few shots that harkened back to the original Mad Max. Like when one guy got hit by a car, I'm pretty sure it was one of the guys in white. When he got hit and it came real fast, it came in real quick, it had a fast cut to his eyes bulging.
Yeah, right.
Like with Toe Cutter in the first movie.
Right.
As well as certain scenes, I'm trying to think of a few others as well, but it was just so interesting the way they kind of just cut back to similar shots or even just similar outfits. Also, actually, similar character types. I love how every film has to have a big man for Max to fight.
Yeah.
Like, I think since the second movie, I'm pretty sure since the second movie with the Ayatollah of Rock and Roll, you've always had a big man in some way or another throughout these films.
Right.
Like with the third movie, you had him end up being having some learning disabilities, and then in this one, you had him being the son of Joe.
Right.
So it was very interesting how like each movie Max has to fight against big man. Big man who too big.
Right, because in this one, I kind of love it how they do it, though, because he's, like, I don't know, usually it would feel like, Max is the lead of the movie, the action hero, so of course he's going to take, down the big muscly dude. And, like, this one, the guy walks in, he punches him, and he's like, oh, that didn't do shit. Then he just picks up Max and throws him into the truck, and he's like, oh, crap.
Yes. No, I like throughout the movie they really tried to make it a group effort because one thing I have to say that I really enjoyed about this film is, and it's hard to do after the third movie because even though I do have some problems with the third movie I think raised the stakes so much by having it be an entire city that not necessarily was against Max, but that Max was fighting in. Because the first one, it was just, it was kind of pre-apocalypse-y. It was on the cusp of the apocalypse.
Right.
The second one, it was technically a city, but it was a smaller one in the desert that he was trying to help these people. It was more so like, I'm trying to save these people rather than, like, I'm not saying he didn't have a big enemy force to fight, but I feel like it was small in comparison to the third film, where you end up having, like, the queen essentially coming after him with all of her men. And then you think of, again, trying to save, like, a city necessarily, and, a large city. So you think, how can they raise the stakes? And in a way, yes, it became saving the city by the end of it, but really in the earlier parts of it, it was just saving these women. And I say only just because in terms of how many there are, not so much in terms of like their lives, because of course that matters, but there were only a few of them in comparison to the large tribes that Max has saved in past films. Even when you consider the kids, arguably in the third one, you could say that's a large amount of people to save. But in this case, at first, it's more so like, I'm just saving these women. But what they do is, what's interesting is, even though the quote-unquote stakes, as in who are we saving, there aren't that many of them, they then raise the stakes exponentially by the amount of people that are coming after Max. They never felt safe. And it was a very interesting...
Let's throw an entire fucking war band at them.
Yeah, no, bigger than one we've ever seen in this franchise thus far. Like, it makes Toe Cutter and his gang look like they were an appetizer to the shittiest meal imaginable.
Yeah.
No, because, like, remember when we thought...
scene it was, but there's one point where you look back over on the horizon and you just see all the trucks coming out, like, at them, and it's like, oh... well, shit.
And that's all they have is that one truck with that water. That's all they have going for them. And it's just so interesting seeing them, like Max brings up in the beginning of the film, like he brings up in every film, really. He's just trying to survive.
Right.
And that's all this is trying to survive in the face of assholes. But in this case... It was an asshole with a god complex, clearly.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that at the beginning, too. Because, like, he's just overlooking, the desert, wandering about. And at first, like, I guess it was kind of half and half, but I thought it was just he was packing up all his stuff to, like, drive away. He's like, I run from the dead and the living. And I was like, oh, he's trying to get away from the ghost of his past, like the people that he couldn't save. Which is also another horrifying thought. Like, you only see the times where Max actually succeeds. I'm sure there are multitudes more of times where he failed. And that's a horrifying thought.
I think the scariest thing is, and I know that should be scary on its own, but for me, the scarier thing is...
yeah, the first one, when he lost his wife and child, so, yeah.
Of course. But when I say... but the thing is, when I look at it, I think the scarier thing is him succeeding... and then they grow up just enough to die.
Yeah, that too.
Because there has to be people where he's just like, yeah, I've gone back to this village that I saved. Oh my God, they're all dead. Well, that's fucking great.
I saved
apparently.
them a week ago.
Yeah. Like at that point, you really start to close yourself off. You kind of in a way become like that doctor mentality, like Doctor Who. But the difference is, at least he can fucking use time, or she in this case now can use time travel.
Right, yeah.
Max is just walking around in apocalypse.
Yeah, strolling around the apocalypse, going for a Sunday drive. But the funny part with the opening scene, it's like I thought he was trying to, shake off the, thoughts and everything and just drive off. And then I realized, oh no, wait, he has a raiding party behind him, and then they just throw an RPG at his car and he goes flying. Because that was the funny part for me the first time I saw the movie. I went with a friend back in college to see it. And I'm like, oh, this is a long-running series. Like, this is, technically the fourth movie of this series. And I just see the main character, or I suppose the main character, his car just gets completely blown apart by a rocket in like the first 5 minutes, and I'm like, holy shit!
This ain't your daddy's action movie.
Yeah, right. And then he gets himself out of the car. I'm like, how did he survive that? Not realizing he's been through worse.
Yeah, no. After seeing the first 3, you're like, oh, that's sweet. They woke up the they got the cobwebs out of him.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah. But no, I think
he's just
the
like,
coolest thing.
All right, I'm awake. What do you want?
Yeah. I think the coolest thing about this movie is, while they do put him through perilous situations, he does get out of them, yes, of course. Some that obviously, yes, you're thinking, why didn't he die in this? But I think it's one of those things where, even though he does come off a bit like a superhero, everyone does in one way or another. Like those old ladies with guns in the car, or on top of or near the entire rig, holy shit. Like they were fucking troopers. The mothers, thank you. They were fucking. They really were. So they were amazing. Also, I didn't know anything about this franchise until I don't say I didn't know anything. Like I knew Mel Gibson, Mad Max. I saw maybe one trailer when this first came out, but I haven't seen the movie since. Right now, as we're talking about the podcast, as we're talking about it on the podcast, but when I saw The Wives or something in the YouTube video title, I thought it was going to be something a lot more tongue-in-cheek, and good God, I was fucking wrong, and it's sad how wrong I was.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, right, Matt? What did you think it was? How would that be tongue-in-cheek in any way? I assumed it was old, women that have romanced Max that have just come to save him. Yeah, of course he's going to meet badass women.
Right.
If Mad Max, not even loves necessarily, but if Mad Max gets with anyone after this apocalypse, they're going to be a badass. So I imagined that he had just met these ladies, maybe romanced them in some way or another, and then left. Or they left, or, shit got hairy and they split up in some way or another. Yeah. So I assumed this was the wives of Max, just coming in with fucking shotguns blazing. And then when I realized, oh no, they're this warlord's wives that he is basically, most likely, imagining that he's imprisoned these women, or at least put them in a situation that they clearly don't want to be in if they left the way that they did. At the end of the day, I'm like, oh, this is horrifying.
Yeah.
Because I really thought it was going to be because it's kind of in tune with the Mad Max franchise of just kind of tongue-in-cheeky, these women, especially with the whole feminist angle that, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, it is the feminist angle of, oh yeah, these women are tough and powerful. I just imagine they were all just getting together yeah, no, we've met Max. Have you met Max? We've met Max.
Right.
Because everyone has stories about Max.
Yeah.
Even people talk about it in the second movie at the end where the kid and I grew up and we always told stories about hell, the third one too.
Right, yeah.
When they flew away.
I loved at the very opening of this movie, they were I used to be a cop. They called me the Road Warrior. And it's oh shit, yes they did.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I thought, is it odd that I thought that? Because I don't know, I'm thinking of what other media I've seen that the wives or the husbands of someone have gotten together to form a ragtag crew, because it's happened before in media. I just can't think of which. Not Doctor Who, but it's happened in other either comics or something oh yeah, the wives of so and so got together to be all right, can you fucking believe this?
Yeah.
But I can't think of what though. But it's happened before. I don't know. It's hard to explain because again, it's on.
I want to say James Bond, but I don't think that's true either.
No, definitely not, because there's very little continuity between the movies. And by the way, I didn't think with the wives there'd be any continuity. I just thought that they would just be people in the years that we haven't seen Max, just being yeah. So we were with Max. We're kind of looking to track him down, perhaps. I was thinking, because they all look like badass women, and they are for going through what they've gone through and still going through all of this during the film. They are. But I assumed that they had something to do with Max, and it was just going to be some, like, maybe not even tongue-in-cheek, like, with them in the movie. But I thought, because you know what it is? This movie, from the trailers, to me, looked like it was going to be a bunch of people who are looking for Max.
Right.
I did, because also remember, this is me looking at the trailers before I even saw a Max movie, not realizing that this movie is just another, and not in a bad way, another Max has a crisis in the beginning of the movie.
Right.
And then, after that crisis, then sees a group of people who need saving, says, you're on your own, and then goes, fuck it, and saves them all.
Right.
I mean, granted, of course, we had Furiosa as well, but
right,
still, it still did follow that.
Right. The same kind of, like, formula, in a way. But I really did love, I mean, in the other movies, like the helicopter pilot and the few people that usually stick around to help him, like, when he's helping them out escape from wherever they're trying to go.
But they seem, yes, I know what you're about to say. They seem like they're helping him, not that they're on equal footing, that they're helping each other.
Right. Like, Furiosa totally could have done it on her own, because she had a whole plan ready to go. And granted, I feel like she could have made it out of the canyon, you know, if things hadn't gotten a little more hairy, she would have made it out of the canyon and they would have gotten out. But, of course, it's always good to have strong, capable allies on your side. So she's like, you want to get the fuck out of here? Then come with us and help me out.
See, here's the thing. I think that she couldn't have gotten out of there by herself. But guess what? Neither could have Max. I think that they both needed each other, and that's what's great. Like, they were truly on equal footing.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing.
One of the crowning moments, I think, was that Furiosa gets to take out Immortan Joe. She just remember me and fucking rips half his fucking face off.
I think that the line was dumb only because yes, I do remember you. This was like a day ago. I know it was meant for like dramatic effect, but like it was one of those things where like what's it called? It's not like he kidnapped her and then she got away and then came back. It's like, yes, I do remember you. You've been like I've trained you, arguably. Like I assumed she had a high-ranking position in his, like.
Yeah, that's true.
If you want to call it a cabinet. No, like I know it was meant for dramatic effect, but like it was just one of those things where I was like, yes, he does remember you. Rips off his face, and now he'll remember you more.
But I mean, I was really happy that she was the one who got the kill, because
she needed
not against, anything for the filmmakers back then, but I feel like if this was made, like, years ago back when the other Max films were made, it probably would have been Max getting the final kill, because action hero movie logic. I was really glad that she got to do it.
Or the fact that, like with the third one, where it's like, oh no, actually she is the bad guy, and it's granted, of course, in this movie, they really they did a good job of making it be like, no. No matter what she does, it is nothing like what Joe has been doing. Like, holy shit. You know what I love, too?
Right.
I was worried that, like, Max was going to be there, and they were going to be, and Max was going to be like, well, I got to duck because they want to shoot me because I killed Joe. But the second Joe is dead, everyone's like they just had, like, they were waiting all day to, like, let out a fart. They're just like, oh, thank God. So am I the first one to say so happy he's dead?
Right, yeah.
Like, just let it rip.
I was surprised, too.
Yeah, like, I thought he was, because, like, I thought he was a dick, but there were certain people, and yes, there were some people that, to be fair, were a little bit like, so how do we proceed? But, like,
right.
I thought that he was only a tyrant to certain people that would, like, as in the people who left.
Right, exactly. Like, I felt like the others were brainwashed into thinking that he was, a god.
No, it's just like that fucking king from Sandland, and that's not even a joke. I just really like that comic. He controls the water. What can you do when he controls the water? What's going to be a dick to him, the guy that controls the water and has the fucking, has a fucking army with the dude fucking riffing on the guitar, like.
Right. Yeah.
Like funnily enough, everyone who supported Joe, because there obviously were people that did, but everyone who did, mostly who supported Joe, probably died on the battlefield with him.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and I get
So,
like those must be all the families of the war boys too, so they're probably no happier that their children were taking for this tyrant's war band than the midwives were or the wives were for having to sire his children.
yeah.
And then losing their children to more war.
And then milk being made from mothers without any kind of, I assume they weren't asked politely.
Yeah.
Like holy shit, like every piece of that society was pretty much just using women just for their advancement, and also keeping all those people subservient to the fact that they'll release water eventually on a most likely daily basis, but still just enough so that they can live, but also live in fear and praise him. Like,
right.
You know.
I don't know if it was on a daily basis, because he was just like, I forget exactly what his line was, but just Joe looking down, it's like, don't get addicted to water. It'll make you weak and I'm like,
right.
You do realize that's needed for bodily function. Like, you can't go past 2 days without water, right? Please tell me we remember this.
Another thing too.
Society has gone to shit, but like, there's some things you don't forget.
And that's another thing too with the movie. The same criticism I've had with like every movie with 2 onward. People have developed like newer pieces of language, and I think it's cool. I just get really confused because I'm like, guys, it hasn't been like 80 years. Like, Max is still in his, like if Max was 80, I'd be like, okay, I understand why most of the youngins have developed a new language, because there are no books.
I mean, I feel like that can happen pretty rapidly.
You think so?
All you need is you just need distance and certain pressures. I'm like trying to think of like specific examples, but like,
I mean, maybe some of our in-jokes that we make, if that actually was left to spread and develop.
Yeah,
and that was
us
being idiots
exposed to for like a generation, which in their lifetime would probably be maybe into their 20s.
Okay.
Their lifespans are also significantly shorter.
No, because let me explain why I said this, right? It wasn't like the wives who said something. It was like the mothers who said something, and I was like, guys, y'all haven't been out for long enough that you didn't just say the word death. You said the word like, I forgot what word they said, but they didn't say like, oh, we killed them. Just like, oh, something, everyone that I see. And it was like a slang that I don't think is Aussie slang. I thought it was like one of those, just like some of the other stuff that have come out in the past 2 movies. Because the first one, a made-up word, that we created while being out here. But it's one of those things where, like, and believe me, there are other comic books that have done stuff like that, but they do that over like 100 years.
Yeah. I mean, and it's also, I feel like with the War Boys, it's kind of like, it's a...
No, that's fine. They're born there.
Yeah, like it's a stone culture within itself. They have their own, like, war culture going on.
Yeah, no, they're fine. I'm talking about, like, something that, like, one of the mothers said to one of the wives.
Right.
Like, about how they, whenever they...
I'm pretty sure a few of them were using Aussie slang. I'm not entirely certain, but I felt like some of those were definitely slang we, like, in our lifetimes would know about.
Oh, no, definitely. Like, in the car, they were definitely using slang, and it was funny.
Right.
I'm talking about... Like when they first met, and some of them were talking on the side, there were some words used that I could swear were used in the context of like, oh, these are made up words. Again, I could be a complete asshole, and it could just be Aussie slang. Also, it wouldn't be us doing a Mad Max podcast if I didn't make the standard joke that I make every time. I really like this autobiographical movie about Australia. It's really nice.
Oh my god.
It wouldn't be us doing a podcast if I didn't say that.
Yeah.
So,
and I do.
Yeah.
I still love that. Just seeing the outback. It's beautiful to me.
What do you mean?
Well, like, just the film localities.
Oh, okay.
Just
No, I thought you were trying to say that they were
in.
I thought you were trying to say that they were in Australia because they weren't.
No, I could have sworn they were filming in the Outback.
No, it's a co-production between the two of them, but I'm pretty sure they didn't. I'm going to check right now just to clarify, but I'm pretty sure they did not film. They were supposed to originally film in a certain part of Australia, but it started to rain a lot there, and then vegetation started to grow, like I think like wildflowers, like it just didn't fit with the film. So, but I'm going to check where exactly they were filming, because maybe I'm wrong and they were filming in a different part of Australia. Let's see here. Actually, before I even mention that, I do want to mention how much money was spent. So they spent $150 million, and it made back $378.9 million. Frankly, though, even though I think it should have made more, this movie won. I don't know if it won awards, to be fair, but a lot of critics and a lot of people praised this film. Like, not just fans. It was fans and critics alike coming together and being like, "Did you see that?" Which doesn't happen often. Actually, it did receive. Okay, so wait, it won multiple critical and guild awards and received 10 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture and Best Director, and won 6. It won for costume design, production design, makeup and hairstyling, film editing, sound editing, and sound mixing. Which, fuck yeah,
oh,
it did.
Shit. Yeah.
You know, like, why would you not? So let's see here. I want to see where they filmed. Filming took place. Okay, so sorry about that. Potts Hill and Penrith Lakes in Western Sydney. And let's see. And the Namib Desert, which is in southern Africa. Okay. It's a coastal desert in southern Africa. That's why I was like, they didn't just film in Australia. I thought they filmed elsewhere as well. So they filmed. So let me see though, because I'm confused about how Potts Hill and Penrith Lakes look. So I'm curious. I'm wondering like what parts of the movie were filmed there and.
Right.
Okay. I have no idea. Maybe like potential reshoots or.
Like where
maybe.
the Citadel was, maybe. But I could be wrong. No, you're right. Yeah, like they could have, because this is such an interesting movie because like it seems like they just filmed in one straight location, but they probably during certain parts they were just like, we're filming here. Just it looks like it's one continuous shot, but it is not. And then Potts Hill, looking at a picture of Potts Hill, it's very bushy. There's vegetation. Yeah.
That's not this movie. So it's very interesting. But either way, though, this movie, by the way, was in developmental hell for years. It was supposed to come out, I think, so there was, the idea for the fourth installment occurred to Miller in August 1998 when he was walking in an intersection in L.A. So, good for him having ideas while walking. What happened? So he conceived a story where violent marauders were fighting, not for oil or for material goods, but for human beings. Which, like, cool, but most of that is Mad Max, though. Like, it's... Like, all you gotta say is violent marauders, and I'm like, Max.
It's interesting how this movie kind of shifts from a focus, because all the other ones, the marauders were always going after, gas for their cars and everything. But in here, it's more of, like, Immortan Joe has they've got that trading ring going around with Gastown and the Bullet Farm. So he has all the weaponry and all the gasoline and, like, machines that he needs. Like, his big concern is keeping his empire basically going and siring a son. So, like, the importance is shifted onto people.
Also, he says siring a son. I'm wondering if he's trying to sire one who looks a certain way, maybe?
Yeah, I think the idea, he was probably trying to have a child with, like, no birth defects, in a way.
Yeah, because I'm wondering
the feeling he probably had a lot of kids that were not healthy.
Well, I'm confused. Those kids who are all, like, pale white, is that, are those all... Yeah, are those all Joe's kids?
I don't think all of them are. Some of them are.
It's
Not all of
Joe,
them.
and he well, you saw his that one wife, the one that he kidnapped, the one that was still there. If he
Yeah.
and he's also old as shit too. If he's been
Right.
doing this for a while,
Yeah.
though granted, the problem is with this movie is that if I don't think Max is in his 40s. Like this has been going on for 20 years. But like we
Right.
said, clearly this has been going on for like 10, maybe 15 years. I mean, Charlize Theron's character Furiosa was kidnapped as a kid,
Right.
and she's not a teen. She's in her 20s.
Yeah, I would say, 20 sounds about right.
Maybe.
Because also the big dude with the tanks on his back, he was one of Joe's sons as well.
I want to see. Oh yeah.
Or at least
so this
that's
movie.
how they make it seem, because he says,
No, they
you
do.
know, I would have had a baby brother. That line.
Oh no, he said son of Joe. He is son of Joe, and
right,
he doesn't
yeah.
look like he's a teenager. So yeah. Although he could have been his son before everything went to shit.
Maybe.
Just like in the Just like in the oh god, what was it? In the third movie when those two were friends, the large guy and the little person. I don't remember his name.
Right. Yeah, Master
But he was.
Blaster.
God damn! How would I not forget? How can I forget the name Master Blaster? God,
Yeah,
such
right?
a good name. Yeah, no, but the two of them, they knew each other before everything went to shit.
Right.
So anyway, so getting back to some of the production stuff, apparently this movie was, the film was actually set to shoot in 2001 through 20th Century Fox, but was postponed due to the September 11th attacks.
Right.
Because apparently the American dollar collapsed against the Australian dollar, and Miller had said that their budget ballooned.
Oh, shit. Wow.
Now, that sounds sad because no shit, but it's about to move on to a sentence that I hope can make all of us laugh, because this actually is a sentence. So he said that, he added on to this, he said that he, quote-unquote, had to move on to Happy Feet because there was a small window when that was ready. Yes.
Oh, my God.
He made Happy Feet.
I
can only picture the penguins with sawed-off shotguns now.
Oh, my God. Well, I mean, there is, a whole global warming subplot in that. But,
Happy Feet is a prequel to Mad Max.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That's where the disaster happened. The wars in the Arctic over oil. No.
The answer may surprise you. And like 10 feet away, all the shit from The Thing was going on.
Yeah. Oh, my
so
God.
But seriously though, so apparently he said he had to move on to Happy Feet because there was a small window when that was ready. So literally he had to jump into that. And then he recasted the role for Max, of course, because even in 2001 he was like, Mel Gibson is old as shit. He didn't say that exactly. That's not a quote. But he wanted Max to remain at a younger age as the quote-unquote same contemporary warrior. Granted, it still feels like a lot of time has passed, but not enough to make him be Gibson's age, which at the time was in his 50s. So let's see here. In 2003, a script had been greenlit. So literally, they were going to be filming in the Australian desert in May 2003 with a budget of $100 million. But then rainfall ruined it, and I guess it ruined it for fucking... that's not what ruined it for 7 years. What ended up happening was Mad Max 4 entered, because it was called Mad Max 4 at the time, it entered hiatus in light of security concerns related to its Nambian shoot because of the tightened travel and shipping restrictions at the onset of the Iraq War.
Oh, wow. Huh.
I never, a lot of shit has happened throughout the years. We're not going to get political here, but a lot of shit has happened throughout the years due to the September 11th attacks, you and I being born in New York, and also the Iraq War, not so much affecting us directly, you and I, but still, it still has affected the country in many ways. And I'm not saying this is a joke, I'm being dead serious. I never thought I would say those two things in relation to Mad Max. What in the hell? Like, it's just odd. Like, it's just one of the weirdest things. Like, yeah, no, because it's a co-production, that shit gets affected when, you know, the American dollar gets weak, or when, you know, there's war and then that affects trade.
Right, yeah. And not to mention all the props and, like, vehicles and stuff that they would have been using to shoot the movie. It's kind of like, is this for a movie or a small-scale invasion?
Let us film. But still, like, it's just, how do you explain it? Like,
please understand.
Please let us film this. So it's crazy to think about, but yeah, apparently those two things did affect this movie.
Wow.
Let's see. I want to see. Neither did I until I was looking into it. Also, apparently Ledger was going to be considered for the role of Max until his passing in 2008.
Right. Shit.
Like, it's just crazy, the little things that add up over time.
Yeah.
Like, obviously not as big as the other two things that we mentioned, but just the fact that we could have had a Mad Max film way earlier. It definitely, I hate to be a dick, but it would have been worse. Only because, like, with what can be done now versus, even with a similar budget, because they had a budget of $100 million, but still, I do think that the movie would have, like, it would have been a lot different. Even if it was the same exact script, it still would have been done differently in 2003 or 2001.
Yeah.
And also we would have freaking had Heath Ledger, who I don't hate. I think if it wouldn't have been Joker, it would have been this movie that would have, or this movie would have at least kept his, his his star up, like in nerd circles, but also just as an actor, because I do think he would have been a good Max. I don't think he would have been a bad Max. Because he was never a terrible actor. He was just in stuff that was more so like romantic comedy-ish. Although he was in Brokeback Mountain, which wasn't a romantic comedy necessarily. It was a romance, but not a comedy. Because he was in Brokeback Mountain, right? Or was that someone else? I thought it was Ledger and Gyllenhaal. Well, the only reason why it's like, Matt, why do you know that? Because I love laughing at the people who went into that going, yeah, two cowboys doing manly shit, and who are just completely like anti-LGBTQ, who are just like, it's about the gays. Like, to me, I just find that really funny. Like, they just went into this being like, we're going to get a manly film about men. It's like, oh, they were men as they were fucking. Anyway, so I'm sorry. I just find it really funny, Tristan, that homophobes saw that and they didn't know. Because the trailers said
not the men
they
you were looking for, but they are men.
Very odd. Just a side note. This has no connection whatsoever. It's just that I have, some of you guys might not know, I have the movie on in the background as we talk about it. So just seeing when the steering wheel was pulled off of the car, I sat there and I was like, yo, Max is about to lose a hand.
Oh God, yeah.
And then he doesn't lose a hand, which is nice, but they have to wrench the car for the wheel, and I was like, that's brilliant. Because I wondered what they were going to do. Like, it shows you how much Miller knows his shit.
Oh, yeah. Well, because the vehicles are just so inherent to their lifestyles that they have to know every little thing.
No, yeah, but I mean, like, Miller being the director who's, because, of course, he made these... Yeah. Because we talked about this, this is the same director who created Mad Max.
Right.
So we talked about how for the first movie, he loved cars so much. That's why the movies have been focused on cars so much, because he loves cars in his spare time. So it goes to show, like, oh, what would happen if the wheel came off? Miller's just like, yeah, you put a wrench on that, you turn it as briefly as you can. And I'm like, damn, like, Miller knows his shit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what the fuck to do. I'd be like, well, the wheel's off. Matt, what are you doing? I'm praying. That's what the fuck I'm doing.
I mean, it's funny. I was actually in a situation where that happened to me.
Were you praying? Do you have a fucking?
No. It was.
Did you have any kind of?
We were driving
tools?
a Jeep.
Mm-hmm.
And we were driving up a hill and we were going around. Where I usually go camping, and we just went to this kind of a hairpin turn, but it's on a 45-degree angle going uphill.
Mm-hmm.
And as my dad's about to make the turn, the steering wheel pops off, and we just look at each other.
You're all alive,
like,
so I can laugh.
Oh yeah, we're all like, this is a hilarious story in hindsight, but like at the time, we just looked at each other and we didn't say anything, but the look in our eyes was just, oh shit.
What year was this?
Oh God, I don't remember. Early 2000s probably, or like mid 2000s.
Oh God! If only this movie had come out in 01 or 03, you would have then seen it, and you would have known what to do.
Well, no, I mean, my dad basically looked back, went to go make the turn, pops off, looks at me, looks back down, sticks the wheel back on, and is able to continue the turn, and we made it up the hill.
You're sitting there, you're like, and in hindsight, it did feel like the frame rate was slower. in hindsight, also, I think it was in black and white. And maybe I'm dissociating, but it was also a silent film.
Oh, my God.
Just everything. Oh, so side note, this is actually somewhat relevant. I loved when different things, like certain situations happen in the movie, like either gunshot near Max's ear, or just a giant explosion of some type, and everything, like his ears were ringing, and everything went silent. Beautiful moments because. Yeah, because that's going to happen. Like it's one of those things where it's like when you're in a situation like that, very high pressure, everyone's shooting at you. It's not going to be clean.
Right.
Shit's going to go down.
Max's expression too. That one time where she braces the rifle on his shoulder and she's like, "Don't breathe," and he's like, "Wait, what? Oh!" And just his face is like, "Oh."
It was so funny. So yeah, I enjoyed that a lot, but yeah. So no, because I thought you were bringing up the camping story because I know you mentioned one that you went camping last year. So I was like, had you seen Max already? Had you seen Fury Road? Could you have? Dad, I know what to do.
It just reminded me of the steering wheel.
Good God. So here's something interesting. There's some other stuff, too, that I'll get to, but one thing I want to mention that came up off the top of my head, apparently they were planning on doing a Furiosa spin-off, which, my God, would I be down with that?
Yes. All of the yes.
Frankly, if they had brought Gibson back as Max, if everything had gone well for Gibson and they brought him back, it would have actually been a great way to spin off the franchise because I think that she actually she can carry herself enough, because of course she's fucking Charlize Theron, that she can carry herself enough that she could do another, like they could spin off into her franchise, and I wouldn't feel like it's a cop-out of some kind. Yes, you have some people being dicks, but I wouldn't feel like it would be a bad spin-off or a bad send-off for Max. Not that he would die necessarily, but if they were like, yeah, this is us introducing her and take care, I'd be okay with that. Apparently Miller cited director, you might know him, director Akira Kurosawa as an inspiration for what he wanted to do with the franchise.
Huh.
Kinda makes sense.
Yeah.
The way some of the stuff was filmed. Also, Miller was also developing an action-adventure tie-in video game based on the fourth film, along with God of War 2 video game designer Cory Barlog. I don't know if that's the exact one that became the Mad Max, the newer Mad Max game. Unsure. But either way, it's interesting that they were working on that because it's interesting that Miller was involved. That's what's really cool. Because I'm not sure if he was involved in the Mad Max Road Warrior game that came out for, like, the NES. Also, I think I mentioned this to you before, Tristan. I mentioned this to you, I think. Very small amount of Mad Max games, or how big it is, or for what it's inspired in pop culture. There's only 2.
Yeah.
You'd think there'd be more. Like, there's one on the NES, and then there's one on the PS4. And I assume Xbox One as well. That's it. How odd, right? Like, maybe it's just me, but it feels like there would at least be one per movie.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
I don't know. Like, I'm wondering what, I guess, it would probably be first-person shooter, I guess, but with,
it would be, it's an action-adventure driving. Like in the fourth, in the one for the PS4, you're driving around in cars doing missions in an open-world map, which, by the way, as someone who owns a PS4, you should probably buy it.
Yeah. No, I probably should.
You probably fucking should. So one thing else, another thing that I wanted to mention is that apparently they were planning on this being a 3D animated film at one point.
Oh.
And I'm happy they did not go with that.
Yeah. It would have been interesting, but I'm glad we got what we got.
Here's the thing, dude, right? I want more comics to explore Max's lore. I'm fine with comics, like 100%.
Right.
But when it comes to animated films, there's nothing wrong with animated films. I hate this idea that we need to remake everything in live action because it does feel like we're shitting on animated films that did just fine and that they, they're still a good medium to tell stories, But I don't know how I feel about things that are live action that go animated when they're not, there's no, comic book adaptation or tie-in. And there was one comic book tie-in to Fury Road that we might talk about one day. But when it comes to actual comics, Mad Max is not a comic series. It's a live-action movie series. So I feel like it would be odd if it went to a film, especially after not being, a set of movies for years. Like, it would be funny if Max got the Rambo treatment. And I don't know if you know this, Tristan, but, Rambo. And have you ever seen Rambo? With Stallone?
Yeah, no, I don't think I have, no.
All right, well, basically the first Rambo movie, I think it was called First Blood, but the first Rambo movie goes into depth with how he was kind of cast aside by the military after Nam and kind of turned into a weapon and everyone kind of abandoned him. So I forgot what he was doing, what Stallone's character Rambo was doing in the movie, but it was kind of a call, in a sense, to look at the way we treat our veterans, not just a movie where, he goes in guns blazing and kills people. There was that aspect of it, of it being there, especially with the later editions where, the second, third, and fourth movie are just him fucking going crazy, yeah, America, right? But the first one was kind of a look at that in the same way that season 2 of Daredevil is also not just the Punisher being the Punisher, but kind of a look at how we treat our military when they get back from being overseas, right? And definitely the Punisher TV show does that as well. They actually go through Frank Castle's PTSD.
Right.
And it's terrifying and it's traumatic.
Yeah.
So when you look at the reason why I say getting the Rambo treatment, though, is because Rambo ended up getting a cartoon show that aired for children on television.
Oh, God.
So I would laugh really hard if, Mad Max got, the fucking cartoon treatment, where it's just Max going around saving people from, oh, no, he's the evil waterman. He no give us water. Don't worry, child. By the way, American accent, I'll help you.
Yeah.
Mad Max. It's just that 80s synth, Mad Max coming to save you, Mad Max. That would have been funny. But getting a serious CG or 3D animated movie, I don't know. I think the shots would have been great. Yes, they could do more that you can't do in live action. But frankly, I think this movie showed that if given the right creators and giving them the right creative control and giving them a certain amount of money, you can still get shit done.
Yeah.
You can still do practical shit. There's nothing, it can happen. It's not, and yes, it's not if obviously there was something bigger, larger than life, okay, maybe, cartoons would be better, but we had a lot of shit that I never thought they could pull off, like the fucking huge speakers with Guitar Dude. What? And have that just be there. When I saw him, the first time I saw him, I think was either in a trailer or in a still or maybe a meme. I don't know what, or maybe it might have been a USA or some network trying to hype up that they're going to air Fury Road. I don't know when was the first time that I saw him, but when I saw him, I was like, that's fucking crazy. They're actually doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the one thing that I have to say that I do enjoy about this movie is that they did have some, not necessarily dark humor, but they still had some things that you could laugh at that were either balls to the wall crazy, or were stuff like, I don't know if it's necessarily dark humor, but here's a good one, right? Like I think his name was Nux.
Nux, yeah.
The one that the one that actually started to help them at the end. But before he was trying to help them, it was like, I'm going to do this for you, Immortan Joe. Jumps onto the rig and then gets his chain caught, and Joe is just like, average, and then drives away like a dick.
Oh, God. I knew he was going to, like, fuck up everything for Max and Furiosa in that moment, but I actually felt kind of bad for him. I'm like, wow.
And
it's like the God figure that you admire has given you a mission, and you just, because it felt like just shit that would happen to you. It's like you're given this really important task, you immediately fuck it up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I can level with that. I'm sorry, Nux. Like, you were about to fuck up the main characters, and like that would have been terrible. But like, I feel you.
Basically. Also, here's some interesting.
That's what made his death like so sad. Like, he went out like a hero, and like he saved them all. But like, just that last witness me. God damn.
It's nice to have someone else get the Max treatment, because Max wouldn't have died from that, but like that's something Max would do, and it was just nice to have one person just get that heroic, even though I didn't want him to die, but it still got that heroic last, that gesture. So even though it was a very sad moment, it still is, like you mentioned earlier, if this was made 20 years ago or 30 years ago, Max would have done that, but he would have just been out okay. Like, he would have jumped out at the last second.
Right, yeah.
And then it'd be like, and we drove,
and you would have saw him walking off. Right.
And it'd be like, and we drove away as we saw Max. We knew that he saved us, but really, in a way, we saved him. And then it'd just be, it would cut to it would cut to Furiosa with her own kid or something.
Yeah.
Telling her the story of Max who gets angry. Mm-hmm. It's Mad Max, damn it. No, but
like also
sounds like a bootleg.
Like
does it? I'm sorry to interrupt. Doesn't it sound like a bootleg? Max who gets angry. Like, it sounds like a bootleg. Or like a translation put into like Cantonese or Mandarin, but then brought back into English.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sorry. You were going to say something probably very important.
Well, with like Nux's sacrifice, it's also with him just looking up at his, massively much stronger brother. But like, it's also kind of that punch to the culture that he was born into, and like, no, I'm doing this because it's what I believe is right, and I don't have to be, the hulking berserker to be useful to people. I'm a damn good mechanic. I'm half the reason they made it away from you guys, because I plugged the engine back in.
Yeah.
And like, it really did, like, when he has those few moments when he's talking to one of the wives, like, he has those few moments where, I don't know, he gets a little bit of his humanity back, and he's not just this raving lunatic screaming, "Witness me," spraying silver chrome spray paint into his mouth, And
by the way,
really a nice transformation too.
Yes. Also, the paint thing was interesting because, like, essentially they had like this little cult thing going where it's like, yes, it gets them high, but it's their way to prep. It's like you take this. They then clearly get high, so then they send them into battle, and then they tell them, I will be there to await you at the doors of, to Valhalla. Like, it was just such an interesting mesh of cultures.
Yeah.
Also, I would argue some of because like usually the bad guys are the ones who don't speak English well, like they speak some kind of broken, like made up language. It was very interesting because Joe and others, like it seems like they knew their shit.
Yeah, Joe's
like usually, like yes, no, because the thing is, other films like 2 and 3, everything really broke down to the point where even the villains were just like chopping up like some word salad together at some points.
No, Yeah.
No, because, like, when did it got to the point where it's just like, it's like, we've been on the road. Like, I was like, the apocalypse happened 3 years ago.
No, you're right.
Everything is like this now. And all of a sudden, like, after 3 years, someone's like, you tell me what me can do for you. And it's like, dude, it's been fucking 3 years. Holy shit. Were you just waiting around to be like, fuck language? And also, fuck the pitch of my voice. The second things go to shit, I am putting on a gimp costume, speaking in broken English, and just bringing my voice up to where it's like, I talk like this normally. But now I speak of this way to you, warrior of road. It's like, why the fuck did you have to become Yoda after like a year and a half with no oil? Is that what no oil does to people?
All right, Matt, I'm not going to lie, I feel personally attacked. I mean, you're not planning on doing this if things go to shit?
Looks into my closet. No, not at all.
What would give you that idea, Mr. Leather Jacket?
That's what you thought I had in my closet. Excellent. Anyway, so.
Not going to touch that one.
Not going to touch that one with the poles that they vaulted off of in the movie.
The exploding, 10-foot pole.
But so here's something interesting. Something actually really cool. Both the Doof Wagon and the Doof Warrior's guitar are fully functional. None of his scenes were rendered in CGI.
Right. Nice.
So he played the guitar.
While
like that guitar
driving around.
Is... Well, I don't know about, like, maybe that part was rendered, but, like, as in him on the guitar using it, that was just him playing the guitar. What the fuck?
Right.
Also,
it's metal as fuck.
What was that?
I said that's metal as fuck.
It really fucking is. Also, cinematographer John Seal came out of retirement to shoot Fury Road.
Wow, nice.
Can you imagine that? Just like, I'm just going to fucking come out of retirement because I believe in this.
You just hear, like, I'm putting a movie together. What is it, Mad Max? I'll be there in an hour.
It was the first time Seal shot with digital cameras.
Wow.
That's how long he'd been retired. Yeah.
Damn.
But, so, and Miller, just as George Miller, director, said that 90% of the effects were practical. Mentioned, like I mentioned earlier, getting 150 stunt performers, which included Cirque du Soleil performers and Olympic athletes.
Yeah.
Holy shit. And let's see, there was something else. Oh yeah, what I mentioned way earlier. It's been more than a minute. When Miller recruited his wife. Yeah, so his wife, Margaret Sixel. So she edited the film, and she had 480 hours of footage to edit.
Wow.
Watching it took 3 months. The film contains about 2,700 cuts of its entire running length, which is equivalent to 22.5 cuts per minute compared to Road Warrior's 1,200 cuts of its 90-minute running time, equivalent to 13.33 cuts per minute. Now, Matt, do you know what you even just said? No, but that's a lot of cuts.
Yeah.
Also, just the fact that she had 480 hours of footage.
Yeah, right? Holy shit. Like, I can only imagine, like, we both come home at the end of the day, have dinner, pop in the tape for just watching cuts. It's just, explosions going off, and they're both like, all right, that was a decent one, that can stay in. And I wasn't really too crazy about that. Or, like, just for, like, 3 months watching this. I know that's not how the process works, but, like,
I mean, but it kind of is, though. I mean, it is a husband-wife duo, so maybe that kind of was what happened.
Right.
I mean, I'll say this much, though. If I remember correctly, and I'm pretty sure I'll get to this as I'm scrolling down, they filmed this in 2011, I had thought. So, like, it took 4 years for this thing to be worked on and actually come out.
Right.
Which means that, yes, they had 480 hours. Actually, no. To be fair, it was 3 years because principal photography began June 26, 2012 in Namibia, and then let's see. Yeah, filming wrapped up December 12th, 2012, and lasted for 120 days. Wow. I mean, yes, you are in fucking deserts, so you don't want to film for that long, but actually, no, that is 4 months. For me, I thought it was only 3 months for a second. I was like, wow, but it is 4 months. That's a decent amount of time. But yeah, no, so yeah, okay, to be fair, it came out in 3 years. It's actually not so bad, especially for a movie with that much fucking, I'm sorry, dude, like, I'm sure maybe other movies also have as much footage to sift through, but to think of, like, just after seeing the final product and seeing that it's 2 hours long, it's just like, so there's another 458 hours of that, or 478 hours of that footage just on the cutting room floor? Like, how many times did they have, and I know this sounds funny, but, like, seriously, do they have, like, Charlize Theron, like, screaming into the night or into the day? Yeah. Like, you know, when she realized, like, her entire group of people that she thought were there waiting for her are dead. Like, is it like those cuts, or is it just them like driving around for hours? Like, I'm wondering, like,
I feel like it's probably the driving, yeah.
But also, I assume it's just different takes of, like, okay, run through, you know, like when Tom Hardy, it's like, all right, run through that again. All right, run through that again.
Yeah.
Damn it, he's wet. Get him not wet. He has to run through shit more. Like, it's just, you know, I'm wondering, like, what else. You know, by the way, I was right. Every scene that was filmed at night, quote unquote, was actually filmed during the day, and they just in post made it look like it was nighttime.
Right.
That's probably why, even though it was quote unquote night, all of it looked vivid and very colorful. But it also looked like it was muted in a way.
Right. They wouldn't have been able to film at night.
Well, yes. But, like, you could also assume it's a set. It's still night, but, like, it's
true.
I don't, like, no, because the thing is, like, it wasn't like, it was, because you're right, of course, it would have been fucking freezing. But I mean more so, like, the colors just
freezing,
looked.
But also, if they wanted it authentic, they wouldn't be able to have. I'm just thinking about, like, lighting wise and everything, because if they were, like, shooting out in the desert, it would have been pitch black. They had lights to film by, it would have completely fucked up the shot.
You're right. Yeah, it would have looked like every Indiana Jones scene where they're going up into an enemy camp at night. No, it would have been like spotlights everywhere.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Because that happened in multiple Indiana Jones films where it's like, he's coming up to the enemy camp, or even something like Jurassic Park where there's just fucking, you know, it's like, they're coming up, you know, to this. What, like, not Energen, what is it, what were the bad guys called, like the groups that kept on coming in trying to get dinosaur samples? Engen?
Well, that was the original company. Do you mean
in World 2?
No,
I meant like from
Jurassic. Yeah. The second movie.
Yes, it was Engen, wasn't it, or no?
Yeah, because somebody else owned the company at that point. Yes, it was.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like when they go into an engine camp or something like that, and all of a sudden you see, like, the spotlights, it would look like that, which is iffy. Like, it wouldn't be the worst. It's just like, but for the colors that they wanted to go for, it was it was done very well. Like, it was beautifully done. Also, looking up at the night sky, when they mentioned satellites, I was very intrigued because I sat back and I thought, oh God, there might be some people still in space. Like, so that went to shit.
So we're staying up here, right? Or, well,
I mean,
they're dead up there now.
Well, I mean, how much food do you think that they had? If they were, I mean, how much food do they? No, of course.
That would depend on the mission.
Yeah, no, of course. Oh, but to be fair, yeah, it doesn't matter how long the mission was. It probably wasn't 10 years long.
Right.
I'm still forgetting that, like, they've been out there for so long. Because again, in my head, it's always hard to know how much, how long they've been out there. Because like with the Mad Max, with the second one, I think it was supposed to be a year and a half. Then the third one, God knows how long. And now with this one, with having Furiosa being like, I was kidnapped as a child, it's like, all right, well, even if you were like 10, you're clearly in your mid-20s by now. So like we said earlier, that's like 15 years.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, because she didn't say she was kidnapped as a teen. She specifically said child, which, to be fair, if she considers being like 12 a child, or like 13 a child, okay.
But still.
Still, yeah. But I could swear she thought, like, she said kid, assuming, in my mind, that she was like really young.
Right. When you say child, it makes you think as a small, young child. Yeah.
Yes. Also, I want to know, and maybe it would have been looked into if we had more Max movies, who the hell Max is flashing to?
Oh, you mean the girl that keeps coming up?
Yes, and others too, not
girl?
just the girl. Because I thought there were other people he flashed to as well. But, like, I want to know who these...
there were. I feel like those were just people we've never met. That
I know,
he wasn't able to save throughout his adventures.
Yeah.
But I wondered, because I thought the little girl at one point, I thought maybe that was his daughter, but I don't think it is. It's another
the daughter
child.
Was much younger.
Yeah, or wait, did he have a daughter or a son? I can't remember now.
That also may have been the issue as well. He had a son.
Right, yeah. I'm remembering the first movie. I'm like, wait a minute. Did he have a little girl or did he have a boy? I can't remember now.
Yeah, and some people are saying maybe that's, I'm assuming maybe, some people are like, oh, maybe that's why it's a reboot in some ways. But, like, no, because I don't think they would have survived I don't think they would have changed it that much where, like, they didn't, he and other people, went past the point of, But
there's nothing in those flashbacks that say, oh, that was his daughter or, his son or anything like that. It's just a child. And it could have been just another child that he met along on his journeys that sadly he wasn't able to save, and it really affected him.
I do wonder if they're in the prequel comic, because the prequel comic, like I mentioned earlier, it's Nux and Immortan Joe issue 1. It's 4 different issues combined into the whole trade paperback. It's Nux and Immortan Joe issue 1, then Furiosa issue 1, then Mad Max issue 1, and Mad Max issue 2.
Oh, okay. Shit.
And all 4 issues were released into one. So I do wonder maybe if that, without spoiling, I'm going to see if this, because I don't want to spoil myself either. I want to see if this has anything to do. Ooh, some people did not like it. Okay, that's interesting.
Okay.
Oh no, they were not interested in. Especially they harshly criticized the issue centered on Furiosa, which means that I definitely want to read this and see what the fuck's going on. Eventually, people have said that they liked the one about Nux and Immortan Joe, as well as the 2 issues that focused on Max. Those were received well. But yeah, I just want to know if. The only thing that I'm curious about is like if he in the Max one
actual reasons or for ARG female main character reasons. Which if it is, I'm going to be pissed.
No, I wonder if it could be the idea that maybe she was made less powerful in the comic.
Oh,
you never know.
I hope not.
That's the way I took it. Yeah, it would.
Okay.
So, I mean, it could just be non-canon eventually, because again, they do want to make a Furiosa movie as well as another Max movie. We don't know how that's going to come out, however, sadly, because there are some issues, some legal issues with Miller and with Warner Brothers right now. Which,
shit.
Yeah, I'll get into in a second. I'm just curious. Let's see. The third comic does take place between the events of Beyond Thunderdome and Fury Road.
Huh.
Okay, this makes me laugh. I'll explain why in a second. Max travels to Gastown to battle in its gladiator arena, Thunderdome Plus. The reason why Thunderdome Plus makes me laugh is because it just makes me seem like a subscription service. Like, do you like Thunderdome? You should get Thunderdome Plus today.
Oh my God! Did you like the Thunderdome? Yeah. Do you want the Thunderdome? But harder. Yeah. Please subscribe to Thunderdome Plus.
They're just trading like
guy and flames shooting out.
You can see past Thunderdome matches with Thunderdome Plus.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so. Oh, okay. Thunderdome Plus is like a battle royale style. It's more competitors instead of just two.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe this. Okay. So yeah, I don't want to read any more of this, but I do wonder if that kid maybe is from the comic. Anyway, because I really don't want to spoil it for myself. After Thunderdome Plus, I'm like, this is funny, but I really don't want to. Anyway, so the whole sequel thing, right? Apparently, so in November 2017, it was reported that a lawsuit was filed by Miller's production company against Warner Brothers over a disputed $7 million bonus, and that was likely to delay the production of any sequels.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, being sued will do that. Like, being sued will piss. Because the difference between, because it's funny, Robert Kirkman, the creator of The Walking Dead, is also suing AMC for some money he believes that he owes. I haven't looked into the lawsuit enough, so I don't want to comment on it now. But the point is that The Walking Dead is still going with no end in sight, although with some of its recent ratings, maybe it will. But with no end in sight, due to the fact that they've purchased those rights from Kirkman, and like they can keep. I assume in the contract they can keep that going as long as they want to. And to be fair, even though Kirkman is suing for the money he believes that he owes through, I think maybe like either merchandising or something or other, that still doesn't mean that he doesn't want to get paid money in the meantime.
Right.
But in this case, the reason why I imagine it would stop any future sequels is because Miller is hands-on, where Kirkman, he's busy working on the comic. When it comes to the TV show, he can approve some things, but I think most of the time he just lets them do what they want to do.
Right, yeah.
Like, he's not actively against, like, oh, no, I'm saying that it should be exactly like the comic or else. But in this case, with Miller, he's the creative force behind these, and I assume he might have a bigger hand in that pie also, maybe character-wise. Like maybe there's something in his contract or with how he owns the rights to Max that they can't create a Mad Max without him or without him signing off. And he might be like, no, I want to create my stories. So that might also be an issue. Even if they want to fuck him over in the future, they might not be able to.
Right.
So that's very interesting. But he does want to create a Furiosa spinoff with her, Charlize Theron, as the one-armed war captain. So, yeah, he does want to do that. But it was interesting because at first it was so strange the way this film evolved. Like, after it became Fury Road, right, Miller said, if Fury Road is successful, I've got 2 other stories to tell.
Oh, shit.
And then later, this is because he said this in May 2015. Then later in May, Miller revealed plans for a sequel, or for the sequel had changed, and the 5th film in the franchise will instead be called Mad Max: The Wasteland.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like it.
So instead of having a Mad Max Furiosa and something else, it just became Mad Max: The Wasteland. Not sure if that fused Furiosa or what, but then in October 2015, Miller's team had 2 scripts for sequels, which they ended up with during the writing process. So literally, as they were writing Fury Road, they were just like, this is too much shit. And then it turned into, Furiosa and The Wasteland, which, according to them, Wasteland was just a working title. But fuck it, I still think that Mad Max: The Wasteland is a good title.
Yeah, sounds like a great title.
But, yeah. So Miller still in January 2016 was just like, yeah, man, I would love to make some more of these. Like, he was still, like, there were reports that were like, are you sure? But he seemed into it, but I guess maybe why they didn't greenlight a sequel right away, even with all of the acclaim and everything, was probably due to the lawsuit.
Right, yeah.
Which, yeah, I mean, if he's sitting back and he's like, hey, you guys promised me a $7 million bonus, and I didn't get my $7 million bonus. And I hate to be a dick here, but, like, can Warner Brothers not afford $7 million?
Yeah, right.
Can you not? Like, really? Can
and
you not?
especially for, a director and a movie that got so much acclaim, it's like, it's not like he's blowing hot air, like, I mean, other than it being obviously, like, part of an agreement, like, come on. But, like, really? You're gonna turn down the guy that released, an award-winning film? Really?
Yeah, no, like, I didn't make as much in the box office as I thought it would have, to be fair, but again, it won
sure.
so many awards that you want to have that under your belt.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like, as a company that makes movies, you want to have that under your belt, especially after the failures that DC has had. Like, I'm saying, like, the DC side with their movies, you kind of want there to be you kind of want to, have an award-winning franchise on your hands. Just saying. But yeah, it's just so strange. So I hope that does end up getting, sorted out in the future, because I would really love to see another Mad Max movie in our time. I would hate for that to be, what stalls this franchise for, even longer, to the point where, like, now we have to recast Max again. So that would be painful, to say the least. But yeah, Tristan, he's still there. Oh God, Tristan, where is Tristan? This is not good. Can all of you hear me? Am I going to have to cut this out eventually? Who knows? Oh God. Well, this is bad. I don't know what's happening. That's interesting.
Are you there?
There you are.
There you are. I could still hear you the whole time.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. So that'll be cut out. Don't worry about it. So, yeah, since you heard me, 3, 2, 1. So I don't know how that's going to sound. Tristan and I couldn't hear each other for a second. I don't know about you, Tristan, but I thought the apocalypse was here. So I don't know how you guys are going to hear that. I hope you guys can hear all of it. If not, I'll dub it over and post in some way or another. But basically, we were just talking about the fact, or I was talking about the fact that I would hate if this, if this lawsuit does stall Max, like the franchise, so much that even with the scripts in place, we would then have to recast both Max and Furiosa.
Yeah, no, that would suck. That
would suck. And the reason why I say we might have to recast, like, it might, yes, it could still happen in our lifetimes, of course, because if it's not in our lifetime, sadly, Miller is old enough that he would not be around. Like, if it was not in my, what I'm saying, like, he's not in his 20s, so it's not in my, or, if it's not in our lifetime, it's not in his. But when I said instead of lifetime, I should correct it to if we wait for another, let's say, 10 years or 15 years, again, both Hardy and Theron would be, quote-unquote, too old to come back and then have to rework the script and make it, if they even want to bring them back. So it would be a whole thing. So it's just, I hope that this gets resolved soon. Again, Warner Brothers, you can afford it. Like, you can.
Yeah.
I don't see why you wouldn't just give $7 million just to even if you disagree, it's like, just get them to shut up. Like, if you are an executive who's just like, we want more of these Max movies, it can become a big franchise for us. Oh, because what I was saying was the DC DC films have kind of failed, even though they're superheroes, other than, like, of course, Wonder Woman. Their heroes are so larger than life in comic book form. I don't know if DC comic sales, like Marvel sales, are down across the board, but still, the characters of, Batman and Superman are still fucking huge throughout the world, and yet their recent movies have not done as well.
Yeah.
You want to make a franchise. I know it's, Warner Brothers, they own a lot just like Disney does, but, like, maybe you just suck it up. You pay that $7 million just to make sure that you can have an award-winning franchise on your hands. Just saying. Well, like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but, like, if I was failing in that regard and I was like, shit, we need to have a hit, Mad Max, even though, Fury Road specifically, even though, yes, it could have done better at the box office, it was still that hit, in my opinion. Even though it does seem like it's gotten pretty quiet, probably because there hasn't been a new Mad Max film announced, but when it came out that year, it lit up. Like, I heard everybody talking about Mad Max. Like, it was a household name.
Yeah. Yeah, I did too. And I was confused. I was like, oh, I know about this. And my parents were like, oh, yeah, action movie. It's like, we've seen them. Like, it wasn't, like, a huge one in, like, my house. Like, my parents, like, they, kind of enjoyed it, but it wasn't like Star Wars is in my house where it was like.
Well, there's a reason. They can't show it to the kid.
Well, yeah, exactly. But, I mean, it's funny because I've seen other people, and I don't know. I mean, even when you were talking about some of the older films, you weren't exactly that old when you saw some of them either, were you?
What do you mean?
The Mad Max movies. Like, how old were you
when
you
saw
the first?
26. No, 25.
Oh, all right. Okay.
No, I told you. Yeah, no, I had told you I had heard of it through pop culture because Mad Max was a phenomenon.
Right.
Like what it inspired. So I knew about, so you could argue I maybe knew about Mad Max when I was a wee little one. Knew about it. But like the name. But I don't think I've ever seen a Mad Max movie until I was like 25 when we did the podcast.
Right.
So I just knew Mel Gibson, Mad Max. I knew like Mad Max about the apocalypse. Maybe because there was an NES game, somehow like footage of it crossed my path. I don't know because like I don't even know how the game looks because I've never played it before. I want to though. I want to get it, but still, my whole thing is like
maybe that might appear over on Those Guys Play.
Perhaps it will. Yeah, perhaps it will. One of the two would, but I think the PS4 one is actually more expensive than the NES one still because people still want it.
Right.
But like no one, I'm not saying people hate the NES one, but it is 30 years old. But usually it's the reverse.
Right.
Like the new game is cheaper than the old game.
Yeah, right.
But still, when it comes to Mad Max, it just became, or like it inspired so much in pop culture. I mean, the Ayatollah of rock and roll is what Chris Jericho used to call himself. He's a pro wrestler, and he used to call himself that in the 90s. He used to be like, I am the Ayatollah of rock and roll. And I heard that by him first before Mad Max. So when I see Mad Max 2, I'm like, oh, that's funny. So it's just one of those things where I've known about it, but I hadn't seen it. Like, I'm just saying that, like, I don't know if I would have showed, like, when they showed you Star Wars, were you even out of the womb?
I mean,
were you, like, how old were you, like 5?
No, probably 4. I probably saw it with my parents before I could even remember it. Exactly.
That's not going to be the case with the original 3 Mad Max movies.
No, this is fair.
That's what I mean. Like
I've seen online people talking about it, and like it was one of their favorite movies, like growing up and that kind of thing. So.
Oh no, I'm not. Okay, so I should also clarify this. I'm not saying that like kids didn't like maybe sneak around to watch it in the 80s. Like definitely kids and teens watched Mad Max in the 80s. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I'm just saying that I don't think it was the same experience of like, all right, guys, let's all, like, for everyone. Of course, the other thing, too, you try to speak in generals, and, like, someone's always going to be like, actually, my parents and I watched it every Christmas. And it's like, okay, but not every family watched Mad Max every Christmas.
Goes to Thunderdome to wrestle Santa.
Like, not every Christmas. First of all, there is a public domain movie it's a movie where Santa Claus does meet Satan. Just putting that out there. That's a real movie. We'll never talk about it on the podcast, but it's a real movie.
Well, thank God.
We'll watch it over drinks. It'll be really funny.
Yeah.
Because it's a public domain movie, so we can download it legally, and it's A-okay.
Right.
But yeah. So anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah. So I'm not saying that kids never watched this. Of course they did. I mean, there's an NES game for a reason. It's not just for the adults. It's also for probably some teenagers as well that ended up seeing it. But still, I don't know where this point was going and where it started. But the point is that we learned a lot from this movie.
Yeah, it was the idea of it really Mad Max really lit up in the public eye when Fury Road was announced, and I was like, even I, who hadn't really seen much of it or heard much, I was like, wow, this is big. What's going on? What's going on, guys?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. I mean, again, I had heard of it, but yes, it also for me came up oh, I should probably get into Mad Max, because it always felt like one of those things where I'm not saying that, like I said, he and what he inspired, pop culture icon, but one of those that it wasn't like a Star Wars. And I think that might be why some of the film content, you can air Star Wars any time of the day on any network and it's okay.
Right. Yeah.
Even with some of the shooting, maybe some networks would feel a little weird about it, but Star Wars can be aired, NBC primetime and nobody would bat an eye. But Mad Max, there's some shit that needs to be censored.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Random side note. It's very interesting how the movie became 3D, put on your 3D glasses, kids, around the end with the big crash, where the guitar bounced.
Or
I was
even,
whoa, the steering wheel.
Yeah, even towards the beginning with when Furiosa's driving the war rig into the dust storm, which looked amazing, by the way, and the
I thought
fire
it was an electrical
tornado.
storm.
Well, yeah, I mean, dust clouds. But there were definitely lightning strikes and stuff too. It was kind of an air and land storm. It basically looked like a Franken superstorm that you would see in the apocalypse, because the environment is just that confused on what to do at this point.
I mean, basically, yeah. You don't know what the fuck's going on. Last we checked, there should be this here, and there isn't, and then this is there. Dear God.
Right. Yeah,
so
even when they go back. Yeah, trying to go back to the green place, it's oh, well, what do you mean? Yeah, we want to go back. We're going back home. Oh God, how do we tell you this?
Yeah.
The soil is completely polluted. Yeah, you remember that eerie swamp you went through? Yeah, that's where we used to live. Oh dear God.
Yeah.
And I mean,
that was
to make
sad.
light of that scene, but that drive through that swamp was so eerie, and just the people walking on stilts through it. It was really well done, and Furiosa just breaking down in that one moment, because that's the interesting thing about her character too, is that she is, this battle-hardened woman, but she still, she can still feel emotions. It's not like Max, to the point where he's just so kind of gone in that regard that it's I don't let much out anymore. It's just not much point.
Yeah, for her,
that.
It was a giant revenge angle, but there was always this idea, just like a lot of people in the Mad Max universe, where for Max, his home was taken from him. There hasn't been a home for him since his wife and kid died.
Wife and child died, yeah.
Yeah, there is no home for him.
The road is his home.
Well, that car, that's the saddest thing. I'm like, where's Max's car?
I know. Oh, God. It feels so bad half the time, because it's half the time his car gets blown up or stolen. And it's guys, that's my house. Can you not? Can you please? This is literally the only thing I have in this world. I couldn't even have a dog, which I had, which was great, and then that died too. I just don't keep things that die anymore, because everything keeps dying.
Basically.
And then when that scene where he pops up and he's just like, that's mine, and one of the war boys is driving his car, I nearly lost it. And then they caught between two big rigs. I'm like, well, never mind.
I thought he was going to get it back eventually.
I know, I thought he was too, and then they crush it and it explodes. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, bro.
Yeah.
I could have imagined him just looking over at Furiosa just for like a split second, being like, really? She's like, they were trying to kill us with it. I know they were, but come on.
I have no form of... It's like, I have no way to get anywhere else. Really, though?
Yeah.
Are we really doing this right now?
But they did give him a bike, so that was nice. I don't know if he got to hold on to that bike, but...
Right. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I wanted to say that one of the saddest parts of the movie, you would think it's when Nux died, but it was when I forgot her name because they didn't really go over the names. They have the names of the wives listed on Wikipedia, but I don't remember her name. When she was pregnant with, she was the one that was visibly pregnant with
right, yeah.
Joe's
she was
child.
Kind of the leader of the wives at that point.
She died.
It seemed like it. Yeah.
Like, holy shit. Like, I know I should have expected that, but I think because she was pregnant, dumb ass, I've seen 3
I think the worst
Mad Max movies.
The worst part of it, yeah.
And my dumb ass was like, she'll be alive.
Right. Nah. Yeah, nah. I think the worst part of that, though, was that, because I think they called him the organ mechanic, or the organic mechanic. He, he said at one point, oh, she's breathing again. And he's like, what about the child? And, he finds out the child's not, obviously alive at that point, but he's like, just, get out the child. I don't care about her. I want to see the child.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure she would have lived if they didn't then cut her open. Because I'm pretty sure that's what killed her.
I mean, with a dead kid, though, inside her, that's also not good for her.
Oh, no, obviously not. They were not. It was not a concern of saving her life at that point, which was also sad.
Joe is a piece of shit.
Yes.
Oh, the way they shot it.
Yeah.
The way they shot that part, though, was very interesting because everyone was in darkness other than the guitarist.
Right.
And the actual what's it called? The car with like the organ mechanic, and the wife. Like that was also in color, and I think that was a very beautiful scene. Is like interesting way they color corrected that as well. So that was interesting. Also, something that was really funny. I'm pretty sure you may have mentioned this to me before, actually, because I could hear your voice saying it out loud when it happened, and I died when it happened. When they're all getting ready, like, oh shit, we have to. I think it was when they're all like, wait a minute, they're going back to the Citadel. We're not going to be there, and they all have to like get ready and run, get back into their cars, and you have the guitarist jumping on like, I gotta put on my gear and play.
Right. Well, because, it really feels like that, I guess I'm probably going to think of this the wrong way, but I think it was like in Viking warships or in Roman warships when the beating of the drums to help keep the tempo for rowing. Like, they do that too. They have a drum set in the back, but, like, the guitar for them kind of goes along the sense of amping them up, or no pun intended, but, like, that energy of we're going to war, get your shit together, let's go.
Yeah, definitely. And that's but it's one of those things that really, because I think I said this probably during another podcast, I mentioned that this movie, at least from the outside looking in, because I've never seen it before, reminded me of like that death race mentality.
Right.
Like, or like that crazy, those wacky races, those cartoons with like the wacky races, where it was essentially Mario Kart before Mario Kart.
Yeah. Or
those cartoons.
The old, like in Hanna-Barbera with Dick Dastardly and Muttley, wacky races, or
Yes, it was called wacky
like
races.
A death metal spin on it.
Yeah, but that's how it felt. It felt very old school in that regard.
No way.
But I really found it interesting how like they took that and they just turned it into this. Because I think the best part of the movie, like, I'm someone who doesn't really like, racing movies. I like action movies, but I like a lot more, like kung fu or martial arts or something like that. Or just some kind of like, we have to save the world from some kind of peril. But it's just so interesting that, even though we've mentioned this before, of course, because we've talked about 4 of these, but it's just this idea that, no, the world is already fucked. Like, we're just trying to do what we can.
Right. This is just a story of survival.
Yeah. So, yeah, because I want to see if there's anything else. I want to think if there's anything else that stands out. Oh, the one that I love how Joe just didn't give a shit about killing at that point when Max was near him and he just shot him in the chest. He reminded me, I don't know if he was the same actor, but he reminded me of the guy in the 3rd movie who was taking inventory when he was like, all right, put down your guns, put down everything, just, like, you can't come in here with your weapons. He reminded me of that guy. I, again, don't know if it was the same actor, but still, it reminded me of him, and it was just kind of funny how they have that kind of character in both societies.
Right, yeah.
Just the guy who's just like, look, I'm just here. But I love how in this take, he has he has to be sitting there like, look, I'm in my suit, but also I have some nipple piercings because it's the apocalypse.
Oh, God.
I'm going to do that shit, damn it. No, because he had nipple piercings together, and I was like, cool. Like, I don't know, what do you say to that?
Brass piece on his nose, too. Very odd fashion thing.
You know what was very odd to me? So when Max blocked that arrow, and I was like, oh, that arrow went through his hand, but it's so hot outside, so he has his hand up on his forehead. That's what I thought. Until he rips it out, and I'm like, oh my God, it was also in his head.
It's also in his skull. Holy shit.
I didn't realize it was. I thought his hand blocked it, but he was just like,
yeah, it did. That was the only reason it didn't go through into his brain, basically.
Yeah, but ouch. I still should. His hand was stapled to his face for a bit there.
Yeah.
Jesus. So that was a thing. Also, like we mentioned earlier, just having kind of it really feeling like this is a true what's the word I'm looking for? Not anthology, not compilation, not even companion. A true what do they call movies or TV? No. Movies or TV shows where every character really does feel like they're working together, equal footing. Like the cast is all on the same, level. God damn, I can't think of what they. Like Game of Thrones is one of those shows that it's a I can't. Same thing with Walking Dead, or at least they're trying to make Walking Dead this way. Like when they're all on the same footing, like they're one isn't better than the other.
Right.
You can't think of the term either, can you?
I don't know what you're really grasping.
You don't know the term, but you know the concept. Even though it's called Mad Max, he's not he's the star, yes, but it's not just about him. Like when he's stuck in a situation, it feels like every single person in that car could help Max. Where, like we mentioned way earlier in the podcast, with the other 2 films, or 3, in some cases it felt like people were just Max, yes, they had roles, but like you said, this person's driving this or something like that. But it really did feel like Max was the lead and no one else could be Max.
Right, yeah.
In this movie, it's kind of nice that it feels like everyone not only helped, but at some points literally saved his ass.
Right, yeah.
Goddamn, I'll try. It sucks. That word's going to come to me 3 hours from now, in a daze.
Yeah, and I think they even really reflected that in that first skirmish that Max and Furiosa had, when Max is just like, I'm taking this vehicle and leaving. That fight, and the choreography for that fight was freaking amazing.
Yeah.
And just the fact, even the point, there's even a comedic effect when she wrestles the shotgun away from him and goes to blow him away, and it just clicks, and it's it wasn't even loaded. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, and she starts to get the sense, it's like, you're not really here to hurt anyone, are you? You're kind of just like me. You're doing what is necessary to stay alive. You're not, like the War Boys or like, Morton Joe. And I really love how they develop their friendship, Granted, Max is holding a gun to their head for a good amount of time, but he eases up a bit.
No, yeah. That's true. He is, but still, it is nice that they have some kind of rapport.
Well, yeah, but
eventually.
just that fight scene, like, they were on par with one another. Like, even with, like, Max's experience, it really, truly shows you that Furiosa is an amazing fighter on her own as well.
Yeah, no, it was a beautiful moment, and I think the movie, it just worked well on so many levels. So I'm really happy that it was such a good movie that I would argue it not only rivaled, well, it was better than the third one, but it may have even rivaled the second one as well.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick one that it, like, mirrors the most, I would have went with the second one. And that was arguably my favorite Mad Max. Like, that was probably the best one.
I don't remember if I think it's my favorite, because Toe Cutter is in the first one, and he really does a lot. Like, he's such an interesting, unique character. But yeah.
But yeah, so, I'd have to say this is probably my favorite installment.
Ensemble cast. I think that's what I'm looking for.
Okay, yeah.
When you call it, because the phrase ensemble cast, it's just even though, yes, Mad Max is, in the name of the fucking movie, it's not just like Mad Max saves the world. Like, when you have an ensemble cast, usually everyone gets focused. Like, it's not just like the Superman movie or the Batman movie.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yes, there we go. Yes, an ensemble cast is made up of cast members in which multiple principal actors and performers are assigned roughly equal amounts of importance and screen time in a dramatic production.
Right.
Boom. Fucking forgot about that. And I was like, no, I'm not going to be sitting up at 5 in the morning and just kind of be laying in bed about to go to sleep and hear like a whisper, like, ensemble cast.
Right.
Then have like a creepy little girl be like, why didn't you remember it for the podcast, Matt? I'd be like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I was having visions. Why didn't you remember?
Right.
Wake up. I just fucking wake up. Oh, God. Did not need any of that shit tonight. Anyway, so I think we can wrap up this show. Anything else you have to say, Tristan Walter?
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right, I really hope
for the Bullet Baron, like the bullets, he was wearing a suit of bullets. That was amazing, and his ride was literally like a muscle car on tank treads. That was hilarious.
Yes, I really hope that we can have more Mad Max in the future in some way or another. Really hope that this lawsuit doesn't derail it for fucking the end of time, because again, there's some really cool, if Miller is to be believed, which I mean he hasn't proven us wrong yet. I really have high hopes for a Furiosa movie and for another Mad Max movie of some type. If you have to recast Mad Max for some reason, I mean we do have Tom Hardy as Venom, so I do wonder if that might be a problem.
True.
Because Warner, I mean, even if that's just a filming issue, not just a whole like, Warner DC thing, even if it's a filming issue, I would be okay if we have, even though I loved Hardy as Max, as long as we keep Theron as Furiosa, I think I'll be okay.
True.
Because Furiosa, she hasn't been in the universe yet, I think, long enough for me to be like, oh, well, if we can't recast, if we have to recast, who cares? I'm like, no, I care at this point. Like, like I've heard, it's interesting, I've heard Theron is actually kind of hard to work with. That's what I've heard from different people. But, I mean, I'll say this much. While she might be hard to work with, again, I don't know her, I've just heard things, but she brings it. Like, she does, like, people have never said, oh, she brings a bad performance. They just say that she's very difficult.
Right.
But, I mean, I'll say this much. She brings her fucking A game, though. Like, she's good. She's damn good. And I would love to see her as Furiosa again. Definitely. And also, it doesn't seem like that was the problem for this movie. The problem is Miller is suing, which, I mean, it's not his fault. Again, if contractually he deserves that $7 million, then he should get that $7 million. Just putting that out there. But yeah, so either way, we're at the end of our Mad Max podcast, Tristan, unless we're going to talk about that comic, which I do want to read. Other than that, though, we're at the end of our Mad Max stuff, so, oh well. I guess we'll just have to wait for the real apocalypse to come. That was depressing as shit. Well, either way, love you all. Take care and tune in next time for another episode of Friday Night Movies. It won't be this. It'll be something completely different. All right, guys. So I think I think Tristan has been booted off the show. That's wonderful. Well, say goodnight, Tristan. I'll just throw him in saying goodnight. Put that in post. Tristan?
I did.
Did you just nod?
Yeah, like Mac.
This is not a video podcast. I said I promised these people that I would edit your voice in.
And we got it.
We got a nod.
It's a very emotional scene, damn you.
It was a very emotional nod to a sequel that we'll never get. Good night, everybody. I'm crying. Just crying. No, but either way, thank you all so much for listening in. Same. Thank you all so much for listening in. As always, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, those guys on the radio, please remember to like and subscribe if you liked it. And if you didn't like it and you're still watching on our Those Guys on the Radio YouTube channel, you can still technically like and subscribe. There's nothing stopping you. And you can just hate watch all of our stuff. That's cool, too. Also, you can check out – they could. Also, you can go over to our Blog Talk Radio account, blogtalkradio.com/Those Guys on the Radio. All of our podcasts are listed there, but you can also search up Those Guys on iTunes and download them and listen to us on the go. Have a long commute and you want to torture yourself? Listen to us. No, have a long. I mean, no, they can enjoy us during their. Being branded? Yeah, right. Well, Jesus Christ! I thought mine was a bad joke. I was gonna try to spin that around, but now you mentioned branding, and I'm like, I don't want to get punched in the face by our fans, by our adoring public. Anyway, so you can follow us. Our different podcasts all through there. Also, if you want to listen to us do Keikaku Corner, which is weekly news articles and things like that, all wrapped up into a nice little neat podcast, you can listen to that, either the video versions released either usually on a daily basis when we do Keikaku Corner, which is usually once to twice a month, or you can listen to the MP3 files by going to our Patreon, patreon.com/TG Productions, and over there, depending on what tier you give to, you can get every single Keikaku Corner we've ever done. Also, you can follow us. I think we mentioned during this podcast our Those Guys Play channel. Yes, we did. We made a joke about that earlier. You can actually go to our Those Guys Play YouTube channel, find all of our stuff there, things like Matt Rants, other Let's Plays, some other gaming content. And for the Matt Rants, you can also get MP3 versions of every single Matt Rants ever done by going to our Patreon. So want to mention as well that we have some T-shirts. Those will also be linked around. There'll be some affiliate links for Fury Road down below if you want to help support the channel and buy a really kick-ass movie. You can do both at the same time. And yes, thank you all so much again as always, and tune in next time for another episode of Friday Night Movies or something completely different. So yeah, take care everybody, and Tristan's nodding again. So see ya.